Well, welcome everybody. We're gonna give a little time for the seats to fill out, and we'll get started in a minute.
Hi, Jenny. Great to see you.
So we have two different ways to chat with us here. We've got a chat line, which a lot of you are familiar with from Zoom, and you can write to everybody. You can write to an individual, and then we have a Q&A box where you can pose specific questions to any of us, and we'll kind of collect those. And oh my gosh, Will's here. So good. Hey, as you guys are coming in, because we don't know where you're from, and we don't have the full gallery view where we can see everybody. Please tell us where you're from in the chat box. Just we can see your name, so just say, "Hey, I'm here from Austin, Texas," or New York City, or under the bridge, wherever.
Oh,
all right, Boston, New York, San Francisco. So, okay, we got the U.S. covered. Nebraska, Washington, L.A., Culver City, Phoenix, Webster, Mass, Santa Barbara. Is it sunny there?
It's always sunny there, isn't it? Linden,
Texas. It helps to say Northeast because who knows Texas, right? I mean, some of us know Texas, but South Hadley, Mass. We got a few Massachusetts here. Bogota, Colombia. Awesome. Awesome. So if you're just arriving, come tell us where you're from.
Oh, Popo, Teddy, and Presley are doctors. We're going to be talking about Teddy.
Washington Heights, we're in New York City, Tallahassee, Florida. Oh, it's just so good. You guys are from all over the place. Some of us are from all over the place too. Palo Alto. Awesome. Maryland, Canton, Ohio. St. Michael's, Maryland. More South Carolina. So glad you guys are here. We're going to have a little fun, just a little bit.
It's great to see people from all over the country joining us.
Yeah.
Well, and the world, actually. We've got England represented. We have South America. Yeah, this is wonderful.
South San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, we'll give a couple more minutes for some more people to pop in. We have
my
dogs.
dog saying hello.
Is that your dog?
Yes, that's Maya. Maya.
So, we sent out these backgrounds like this one here for everyone to be able to put on so we could see you. But then we ended up using a slightly different technology and we can't see you all. So I'm sorry. And use them when you go visit other Zoom conversations. So Clearwater, Florida. Yay.
I've been seeing too much anyway today.
Right? I mean, I find that all these Zoom calls, some days I'm on Zoom, for 8 hours, and then all the muscles in my face get hurt because you don't want to sit kind of like a mopey person. So you're like always just, there's this kind of resting, friendly. Yeah, I'm listening. Uh-huh. Yep. That was a great point. So, Okay, we got 44 people here. Give a couple more minutes. Hey, while we're waiting, who is this?
One of our Stumptown macaques. I don't actually know their name. That's terrible, isn't it?
They look, she or he looks so soft. Well, you know, this was supposed to be at our house, and I guess it's a good thing it's not, because there's all of you from all over the place, and you would have had to flown here. But you know, we were gearing up. We got the house ready. Our house has monkey art all over the place. Where my wife Jana and I were both kind of monkey people, and but the pandemic hit. And then we put it on pause, and then we kind of pushed it out and pushed it out and pushed it out. And we said, enough, let's just do this thing, and we'll do it virtually. And it's so great that you guys are here. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Eric Bear, and my wife Jana Bear is here. She's downstairs. You can't see her, but she looks like a monkey, just like the rest of us. And we have raised 2 kids. Adopted from China. They're both in their 20s. And we've done a lot together in our partnership. We've been married almost 30 years. We started up a little company in the early 90s, a little technology boutique called Monkey Media. And we named it that because we were in the business of making human interfaces, things to work well for people. And we needed a name that reflected how we thought about ourselves and the stuff we were doing. We were making media for monkeys, and it reminded us to not get lost in, you know, thinking too much about being human as really special, and embracing our inner monkey. And you know, we bought this monkey.com domain back at the beginning of the internet, and I think that is how we ended up connected with this group here, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But we've done well enough in the monkey business that Jana's now retired. She's a cancer survivor, so she deserves to be retired, and I'm in my second career as a film actor. And one of the things I love to do is embody primates and other animals in motion and in expression. And you know, from time to time, I post some of that on social media. You can catch me on whatever channel you follow it as at Eric Gould Bear, GOULD BEAR. But we are not here to talk about me. We're here because you love monkeys, and so as we're going, please feel free to add to the chat line something that you love about monkeys, and what motivates you, what drives you, what you know. For me, being able to care and be a supporter of our extended family is incredibly poignant. You know, and so, you know, that poignancy, certainly there's something for you that has you be here. We have 50 people. There's something that's special for you. So so thanks. So look, I'd like to welcome, we have Liz Tyson and Angela Grimes here. We're going to start out with Angela. Angela is the CEO of Born for USA. So Angela, tell us, what is, for, I mean, those of you, most of you know, there's a bunch of you that are new. Tell us about Born for USA.
Thanks, Eric, and we really appreciate you hosting us here tonight and welcoming everyone virtually to your home for this event, so thank you. Born for USA is an international wildlife protection organization. We oppose the exploitation of wild animals in captivity and campaign to keep them where they belong, which is in the wild. And we work to not only keep them there, but also protect the animals that are living in the wild and their habitats. And Born Free USA is a part of the larger Born Free family. And as you can see from the map here, our collective reach spans the globe. Our work as Born Free USA is primarily in North America and West and Central Africa. And our sister organization, the Born Free Foundation, which is based in the UK, oversees programs in South America, Europe, East and Central Africa, and Asia and Oceania. And I'm not going to bore everybody with a lot of numbers tonight, but just wanted to give you a sense of the impact of the entire Born Free family. We are investing more than 10 million US dollars every year into wildlife protection, and just under about 3 million of that is Born Free USA's work in North America and West and Central Africa. The programs that we deliver are all in service to our aim of ending exploitation of animals in captivity and protecting them in the wild. So we are advocating for an end to captivity. This includes things like the keeping of animals in roadside zoos, aquaria, and the pet trade. We're also working to stop the commercial trade in wild animals and their parts, and we do this through advocacy, through federal and state legislation, and on an international level at CITES. And then we're also working in Africa to help build the capacity of governments to fight wildlife crime. Other campaigns include fighting against trapping, fur, trophy hunting, and canned hunting. And then, of course, the sanctuary, which is what brings us all here tonight. Located in South Texas, we're caring for more than 450 monkeys who have been rescued from some of those excuse me, some of those captive situations that I mentioned earlier. And everybody's going to hear a lot more about the sanctuary coming up with you and Liz.
So it's so amazing. I mean, there's so much incredible work, and that map of the planet Earth and the footprint of the impact is really amazing to me. So tell us, when I hear Born Free, all I can hear is this song, right? Born free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart, or something like that, right? And the movie, right, with Virginia McKenna and Bill Travers. What is there a connection between these, or is this just an easy way of getting to people's hearts?
Oh no, there's a very real and personal connection between that film and the organization that is now called Born Free. As you mentioned Virginia McKenna and Bill Travers. They played the real life Adamsons in the movie Born Free, which was telling the story of, the true story of Elsa the lioness, who was rehabilitated and released back into the wild. So Virginia, Bill, and their son Will were all deeply influenced by the experiences of their time in Kenya, and they were ultimately inspired to take action to protect wildlife after the tragic death of Pole Pole, who was a baby elephant used in one of their other films. She sadly died in the London Zoo, far from her native home. And all of these experiences then led to the establishment of Born Free Foundation in the UK in 1984, and then later Born Free USA in 2002. So that film is very important to us. Elsa is, iconic even in our logo and very dear to us. And one of the lines from that film, I think, sums up really what we're all about. And if you've made it to the end of the film and can still see and hear through your tears, you hear Virginia, as Joy Adamson, say, she was born free and she deserves to live free. And that's the sum of the film, and it's the sum of all of our, really the core of our values.
Oh my gosh. I mean, just saying, I mean, it's like, I'm such a softie. I mean, it just makes me cry listening to you say it. Well, thanks, guys. We have we have some family here in the audience, and thanks for being here with us from this legacy. So from lions to elephants, how in the world did you end up with a primate sanctuary, and a primate sanctuary right here in Texas?
Yes, you wouldn't expect to find monkeys in Texas.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
So
I mean, like,
we-
you know, I've been supporting other monkey rescue operations, and in other places. I thought I had to go other places to do that, and certainly, you know, I've been a follower of Coco for many years as an inspiration. You know, we're about the same age, so I feel like she's kind of my sister. You know, but here in Texas, and you know how did that happen?
Yes. In 2007, Born Free USA merged with another organization, animal protection organization based out in California, and they had this sanctuary. So when we merged, we assumed ownership and management of this sanctuary. So that's the kind of real dry story of how we assumed ownership. But I think the story kind of began for us at that point, because we have spent the last 13 years now really investing in the sanctuary, improving housing, and just really making it an outstanding center and an example of excellence in primate care.
Well, it makes me super happy that that it exists, and it's right here, and I can drive there super fast. So about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I got this email out of the blue from a Dr. Liz Tyson, who I never heard of. And I'd never heard of Born Free being as an organization, no less a primate sanctuary, even knowing that one existed here in Texas. And it was almost this apology of an email. It was like, I'm sorry to bother you, and if you don't want to reply, you don't have to.
I'm very British, Eric.
Yeah. So and I'm from New York City, so it's like not that. And she's like, hey, I kind of randomly found you on the internet. You got monkey.com. You have this company, Monkey Media, and I thought you might be interested, but maybe you're not. And I immediately called her up on the phone. So I was like, oh my gosh, why did you wait so long to find me now? You know, and that's how I got introduced to Liz and Born Free. So Liz, you are from England.
I am.
And you're living here in Texas, where it's like, what is it? It's 91 degrees right now, and it's, you know, early evening.
Yes.
And you have a doctoral degree in animal law.
That was money well spent,
How
wasn't it?
Okay, yeah, because we're lucky. So how did you get here from practicing animal law, whatever that is? I mean, you know, like animals sue each other or something,
Something like
to being in the dirt every day with a bunch of monkeys?
Well, 16 years ago, working for a financial PR company in London, very, very different to where I am now. I've always wanted to work with animals, and I was kind of in this corporate world, which really didn't suit me. And I began to look for jobs, and it was kind of a scattergun approach where I just applied for pretty much anything and everything that would allow me to work with animals. And as either luck would have it or fate would have it, or they just had a really poor set of applicants, I managed to land this job with no experience working with monkeys as a caretaker and education officer at a wonderful primate sanctuary on the south coast of England called Wild Futures Monkey Sanctuary. And that was the beginning. So that was 2004. From there, I've worked either directly with or for primates in many different countries. I've been so lucky with the opportunities I've been given. I've worked in Colombia, I've worked in Peru, Brazil, I've worked in the Middle East, Spain, Ireland, obviously my native UK. And then that brought me to 2 years ago when I was working as a freelance consultant for the Born Free Foundation, our sister organisation in the UK. And my colleague, we were having coffee, we were discussing a meeting that we just had in Parliament, and he happened to mention to me that the director of the Born Free USA Sanctuary was planning to move on to Pastures New. He knew that I was looking for something more permanent, and he asked if I was interested in applying. I was, and I was just, again, really lucky, really grateful that the board had faith in me to take on this job. And so 2 years ago, I flew out here with my 2 dogs, came to rural Texas to take up my dream job here at the sanctuary.
So, well, I'm so glad you did that. Do you miss the
Me
fine
too.
print?
Do I miss the what?
Fine print.
No, no, not in the slightest.
So you called it your dream job. What
Yeah.
what does that mean? What do you do?
Well, I think anybody who is lucky enough to be able to look forward to going to work, to do something that they love and to make a living out doing something they love, it's an incredibly privileged position that I think many people don't get to experience. So I'm aware how lucky I am. And I think also a dream job because I work with the most fabulous team here. And I mean that both from, you know, Angela and the kind of team in HQ, if you like, but also the team of caregivers here who are just absolutely incredible, inspiring people who are out there 365 days a year. Anyone who hasn't experienced a Texas summer probably can't appreciate quite what kind of work that is. But believe me, it's not easy, and they have the monkeys' backs, they have each other's backs. But in terms of a normal day, there isn't one, and that's one of the things I love about this place. This week has been, we were lobbying Congress members on Capitol Hill virtually over the last few days to try and pass a piece of legislation which would prohibit the interstate trade in primates as pets in the US. Then we get to do an event like this where we get all, you know, our wonderful supporters, and we get to hang out with you, and we get to talk monkeys and drink cocktails. And then if I get a little bit too big for my boots and start feeling a bit too fancy and all of that, then I do what I did this morning, which is picking up monkey poop and throwing out bananas to cover for a member of staff. So that keeps me nice and humble. But every day is different. The monkeys don't keep a schedule. They don't care what we've got planned. They will throw up whatever they need to throw on us that we have to deal with at the time, whether that's a medical emergency, whether that's a new rescue, whether that's somebody who's in a new socialization group that needs care. So you just got to roll with the punches, really.
So how many staff do you have?
We have 12. We're a really small team who care for nearly 500 monkeys. So yeah, 467 monkeys across 175 acres, 29 enclosures, and 12 staff members. So this is a testament to what an incredible job the team here does. It's staggering, and
Look, it's about the ratio of a teacher to student in public schools.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be able to teach them well.
They don't get diplomas though. The monkeys, they're not interested. They don't concentrate for long enough.
So how do we end up with this many monkeys in Central Texas?
Good question. Going back to the early 1970s, there was, so you see down the bottom of this slide, there's the Japanese macaque. They are kind of commonly known as snow monkeys. They're species that people might recognize from, they've been widely photographed because they hang out in big groups with their beautiful pink faces and their fluffy white fur in hot springs. So you might have seen these photographs of these monkeys in their natural habitat. So native to Japan, early 1970s, big troop of these monkeys. A lot of people would go and see them. They kind of became a bit of a tourist attraction. They were wild living, but were quite acclimatized to people. People provisioned them. The troop got bigger and bigger and bigger. The troop then split into two, and part of the troop went off their own devices off to where there are no humans, and the other started to encroach on human communities, which then created human-wildlife conflict, and the authorities were going to kill them. So what happened was an anthropologist who had worked out there and studied this troop of monkeys appealed to the authorities to let her rescue them. So It came about that by a family member of her who had a ranch in Texas, this kind of slightly bizarre, unreal rescue mission where 150 monkeys were brought from Japan over to Texas. We've been in 3 different sites since then, but that was how it started. It was run as an observatory, so kind of for behavioral research for a number of years. And then, as Angela's already said, it was taken over by an animal welfare organization who began the work of turning it into a sanctuary, which we then took over 13 years ago now, and have worked really hard to get it to where it is now, where we're really offering the best level of care as a legitimate accredited sanctuary.
So, you know, when I think of snow monkeys or macaques, I always think of these images, right, of them hanging out in the hot tubs and drinking pina coladas or whatever they're drinking, and it seems like there's snow there. I mean, they're called snow monkeys. So it seems like it would be really uncomfortable here in Texas. Our summers are something that you have to learn how to manage the pores of your skin. What and they have fur all over them. How do they deal with that?
Well, they adapted incredibly, actually. That original
Or is it hair? Do they have fur or hair?
I don't know. I would call it fur. I don't know if that's the correct term, whether it should be hair. I'm going to go with fur. So yeah, the original population actually adapted really well, and it's kind of incredible because monkeys have culture like we do. So they pass generational learning from generation to generation. And the monkeys who came from Japan learned new things that Japanese macaques had never learned before, such as prickly pears are really delicious, but the cactuses they grow on will spike you. But they learned to extract the fruit without injuring themselves. They learned that rattlesnakes are dangerous. They learned that raccoons are generally not dangerous. They're sometimes annoying and they steal their food, but they're not seen as a threat. And they passed that down. We do not breed the monkeys as a sanctuary, but for a number of years they did. And they passed that knowledge down generation to generation and acclimatized to the climate here and the way of life here. So now we have snow monkeys who are pretty much perfectly adapted to living here in Texas.
That's amazing. So this prickly pear thing, you're saying that the parents teach it to the kids and then the kids teach it to the next ones and they just get it like that?
Absolutely. Oh, we have an answer. Hair and fur are chemically indistinguishable. There we go. Thank you, Lucky Boy, for that.
Interesting, because I was told that like golden doodle has hair and that's why it's not shedding versus fur that's on other dogs. So maybe we have an answer to that too, Lucky Boyd, information purveyor. So that is true. I have neither hair nor fur. Though once upon a time I did, and it's a good thing for wigs because I can be anything. So so you referred to this as a true sanctuary. What makes Born Free a legitimate sanctuary, you know, as opposed to, you know, something else?
Well, a true sanctuary, I think fundamentally, the fundamental principle of a true sanctuary is that we put the needs of the animals over and above absolutely everything else. So a lot of people will ask us, what's the difference between a zoo and a sanctuary? You know, your animals in captivity in both. Well, our answer, we don't want the monkeys to be here. We don't want monkeys to be in captivity. We believe that they should be living in the wild, but these guys are rescued from the pet trade, from laboratories, from roadside zoos. They had nowhere else to go, and we provide them with a home for life where we give them the best possible life that we can. We don't breed them. We don't have any intention of creating more wild animals to live a life in captivity. That isn't what we're about, and that isn't what we're focused on. We're GFAS accredited, as this slide says. The Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries is a very well-respected organization, and it accredits a very small handful of sanctuaries around the world. It's a very rigorous process, and it's one that we're very, very proud that we have that accreditation alongside some of the other leading sanctuaries in the world. I think really it's about putting animal welfare first. So we don't open to the public because that would be not necessarily in the interest of the animals. We just want to focus on looking after them. I would say that's kind of what we're all about.
Right. Awesome. So you have a video. Can we see some of the?
Absolutely.
and then maybe tell us a little bit about what.
Now my video runs a little bit slow because I'm in the middle of rural Texas, so if my narrative is a bit behind the pictures, forgive me. So what you're looking at here is our jewel in our crown, our 56-acre enclosure where we have 200 pretty much free roaming monkeys. We've got Jacob there who was being relocated, just being let into his new space. More space there where we have our rescue monkeys. They live in these open top enclosures with shelter, so they can be inside, outside. They can make decisions about what they do with their day. Our stump-tail macaque
say again how many
enclosure here
acres it is?
175 acres altogether. Our largest enclosure is 56 acres. Our staff administering, there will be dietary supplements to Booth, the vervet monkey. This is inside our 56-acre enclosures. You can see the monkeys just doing their thing.
The chef?
Our staff prepare, yeah, making medications for the monkeys in the morning. We're very lucky that we have a full-time vet, which is unusual for sanctuaries to have somebody on staff full-time, so the monkeys get the most excellent level of veterinary care. And again, this is the 56-acre enclosure, which they can just roam around as they choose. So I think that this enclosure is spectacular because they really can live as close to free as they possibly can be while still being cared for.
And that's where you live. You're there 24/7.
Yeah, I am just down the road from that enclosure. There's actually a monkey enclosure behind my house where I'm sitting, which was what my dog was barking at before.
And so for those of you who are with us here, that's why Liz's video and audio chunk every once in a while, because she's literally in the middle of nowhere. It looks like she's in a fancy place because she's presenting her paintings that are available to this community. But really, it's behind that wall is
Wilderness.
It is wilderness. It is. I've had the opportunity to be down there a few times because it's not that far a drive for me. But the sanctuary is not open to the public. So, because it's not a zoo. And so how do you make the money to support the work of caring for all these people? I want to call them people, but they're not people. What are they?
I tend to call them people.
Yeah.
Our
the residents?
Our monkey residents. Yes.
Okay. So how do you take care of
How do we make the money? We are through the generosity of our incredible supporters. It's kind of as simple as that, really. We have an incredible network of people, including the people listening today, listening and watching, whose generosity makes this work possible, makes all of our work possible. That and foundations and grants, again, whose generosity and kindness and belief in our work means that we can continue. We don't receive any commercial funding. We don't receive any government funding.
So funding nonprofits these days is challenging, right? Everybody's in a weird crunch due to COVID-19. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that has had some impact, and I want to get to that. But I'm curious, I've seen Will, you've posted on social media a bit about pangolins and COVID-19. You guys, if you're not following Will on social media, you really should. He's a great source of daily information, and a delight. And it's moving and it's informative. But Liz, can monkeys get COVID-19?
They can, yeah. In fact, there's been some cases, not here, but of the particular species of monkeys that we care for contracting COVID. And that's a huge conversation at the moment. That's something we've been talking about with the Congress members on Capitol Hill this week, that one of the major reasons, alongside animal welfare reasons, to prohibit and limit trade in wildlife, including monkeys as pets, is the risk of zoonotic disease spread. So the monkeys can absolutely contract COVID, and it's meant that we've had to put some really important measures in place to keep everybody safe.
And what it's kind of terrifying. to have that larger population to look out for, and knowing that that if any staff member gets it, then it can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a stressful time for everyone. We've got an unusual setup here because a lot of the staff live on site. So if one member of staff were to fall ill, then we have all sorts of issues with the potential of that passing around. So yeah, we're always very careful about disease risk spread because we have to be. We're working with wild animals, and we have a responsibility to the animals and our team.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing that. So tell us, what other ways has COVID affected your work? I mean, here we have images of medical clinic, and I know how hard it was to get masks at the beginning. What I mean, to ask, but surely there have been impacts. What can you tell us?
Absolutely. So the stuff you see here that I think is now familiar to everybody, the face mask, the splash mask, the gloves, these are things that we use absolutely every day in our clinic. And obviously there was a huge push, this important push to get that material to the front lines to fight on kind of a human health front. We can't stop using these things. We can't stop because it keeps the monkeys safe and it keeps our staff safe. So the prices skyrocketed, if you could even get hold of them. So we've had to basically kind of absorb these extortionate costs for the things that we use every day. We understand why everything's gone up. We understand why the supply is down, but the reality is we still need to have these things. That and our food supply has actually been impacted in that food prices have gone up because of transport links being broken and because of supply links being broken as well. So we have seen pretty significant cost increases over the past 3 or 4 months, which obviously were just completely unexpected. Yeah. We couldn't have predicted that this was what 2020 was going to look like.
So that's some of the criticality of what we're here to try and do, is to raise some money to help offset that. What's actually happening here? Who is
so Dr. Johnson, our staff veterinarian, is working with our assistant manager Dale, and they are giving Mrs. Wilkin, one of our most recent rescues, a health check.
And how's she doing?
Well, let me tell you. I think we've got some pictures of her. So Mrs. Wilkin was part of a major rescue carried out by the Animal Legal Defence Fund. They did this heroic court case rescue where they rehomed 400 animals. 5 of those animals came to us, 2 macaques, Mrs. Wilkin and Anna, and 3 baboons, Presley, Marvin, and Violet. Mrs. Wilkin is an elderly macaque. She suffers from various physical ailments, which are a direct result of her being kept captive, being weaned far too young as a baby. She's got all sorts of physical problems, all sorts of bone problems. But she is a little trooper. We were very concerned about her on paper when we were reading about her medical history. And we thought she was going to be this little old lady who might not even survive. My goodness, has she proved us wrong. She arrived in January and she absolutely loves life. We have a video next which talks a little bit about the kind of trials and tribulations she's been through and how she's coping.
She's so amazing. I've met her, and I got to tell you guys, she looks like my grandmother.
But 2 foot and hairy.
Well, my grandmother was 2 feet too. She, she grew up in a family of 13 brothers and sisters in Hungary, and they didn't have much food. But I don't know, maybe that's why they call it Hungary. I got to find a picture of her because you'll be like, oh my gosh, she does look like your grandmother.
This is her in her new enclosure. She tends to come up to the caregivers if she sees us passing, and she'll come up and she'll kind of stomp over and demand treats from us. And if we don't have them, anyone who's familiar with Paddington and his very hard stare, that's what you get from Mrs. Wilkin. If she's not happy with you, she lets you know.
Mrs. Wilkin is a rhesus macaque who we believe to be in around her 20s. She's quite elderly. She has various health ailments, including quite significant deformities in her bones. We believe that's probably because, like so many monkeys kept in captivity, she will have been taken away from her mother far earlier than she should have been before she was weaned, and that will have severely impacted her skeletal development. The likelihood is she's also been fed a very poor diet, which compounds that issue.
Radiographs have shown that she's got a lot of bowed long bones. So basically, when she was really young, she had inadequate nutrition, and so her bones did not form properly. And instead of them being these nice straight bones so that her arms are straight and her legs are straight, instead the bones bow out and create weird angles at all of her joints. And because of that, she's also got a lot of arthritis in multiple joints throughout her body. And because of those bone deformations, she's going to just get more arthritic joints as time goes by. And so one of the big issues that we'll be addressing with her for the rest of her life is pain management to make sure that her arthritis stays manageable. So far she's been very energetic and doesn't seem to be letting the arthritis hold her back at all. We've got her on a regimen of daily pain medication, and as time goes by, if she starts showing signs of that not being enough, we're at the low end of the dose range right now, so there's plenty of room to increase her dose over time. We'll incorporate some other vitamins and supplements to help out her with her joints, and potentially look at options like acupuncture in the future.
Amazing.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really so.
She's just a superstar, absolute superstar.
So can we so I want to meet some of the other people that you have here,
Sure.
and you painted a few of them for us. Can you tell us some about each of these? Because these paintings are available. We have original oil paintings for a certain level of donation, and then we have the smaller prints in a larger quantity, but also limited for a lower level, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So tell us about these guys.
Absolutely. So starting with India, I think we might have some video of her. So we've got India here, who's a pigtail macaque. She was a former pet. She was confiscated when her owner was arrested on different charges, and she was brought to us. She now lives with Gilbert, who's a long-tail macaque, and she's commonly known as one of the most friendly monkeys in the whole sanctuary. That funny lip-smacking kind of kissy face that she's doing is a really friendly greeting. She and Gilbert actually really like people, and they kind of go out of their way to greet us as we go by.
What kind of sounds does India make?
India, the pigtails don't really make sounds. They make faces. So their greeting, their friendly greeting is like this. Like it's like they're blowing you a kiss. Exactly. That's a good pick. Eyebrows up and kiss. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, great. Everyone, join in, please.
Then
okay.
we have.
Who's next?
Then we have Kai. So Kai is a Japanese macaque. It's one of the guys we were talking about before, the beautiful pink face and the big floofy hair / fur. He was also a pet. And the wonderful thing about Kai, when he reached adolescence, he did what every monkey does. He started to get aggressive, but his owner just really did the right thing. And she came to us and she knew that he could have a better life. So she relinquished him of her own accord, and she actually still keeps in touch. She sends him presents on his birthday and at Christmas, and she still takes a great interest in how he's doing, which is wonderful. He is another monkey who engages quite a lot with his caretakers. He currently lives with a rhesus macaque called Darwin, who he's good friends with.
And does Kai speak? What's his?
Kai's note, you would be able to recognize Kai from the other Japanese macaques because he wanders around with his tongue hanging out, and when he's concentrating, he puts his tongue out as well, like a young child, like when they're drawing, things like that.
When they're drawing?
Yeah, do you know when a I think I used to do it as a kid when you're drawing and you're like concentrating, you stick your
So,
tongue out.
so
Maybe
do
it's
you
just
have
me.
art class? What are you talking about?
Not the monkeys, human children.
Right, but you said when he's concentrating.
Well, he might be concentrating on grooming himself or like
Oh.
picking a flower.
I
Yeah,
thought
it's
he was
monkey
painting
thing,
with you.
Eric.
Okay, who's next?
So Buddy is an olive baboon. He's a beautiful boy. He came to us. He was actually going to be traded into the pet trade, but thankfully an employee of that trade, a former employee of that trader, got money together and purchased him herself with the sole purpose of relinquishing him to us. And he arrived at a great time. He was only a few months old. He really needed his mum, but what he found was a brother. Elvis had been rescued around a similar time, and they were both the same age. So the two boys have basically grown up together as brothers, raised by some of our elderly female baboons who basically taught them how to be monkeys and gave them all the love they needed, and also made sure that they were kept in their place when they misbehaved.
Hey, we just heard from Ginny Trenchik, who's going to make a $1,000 donation. She's got to run. So thank you, Ginny. You're amazing.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
For anyone who donates $1,000 or more, the first 4 get their pick of these oil paintings. So you can put it in the chat or put it in the Q&A that's your pledge, and we'll you can go. There's a link right on that other image. We'll get to that where you can go do that online. So we have one more.
We have Teddy.
Teddy
Teddy the Vervet, the little
It's amazing
monster.
how your paintings really capture the essence of these guys.
Thank you. I spend a lot of time looking at these guys. So Teddy's a young vervet who was 4 months old when she was the zoo that she was born at wanted to sell her into the pet trade. And it was another example of kind of, amazing people who her caretakers at the zoo said, no way are we going to do this to this young animal. And they bought her from the zoo and relinquished her to us. She now lives in a group of 5 vervets. Her best friend is Mikey, who's another young vervet, and the others are all quite elderly. So the 2 of them kind of cause havoc, but they're very well loved. And Teddy is a very sweet, kind of engaging monkey who is always really interested in what we're doing as well.
Awesome. So what are your plans for the sanctuary coming up?
We have a lot of plans. We've got a lot of things that we still need to do. Angela was talking about, there's been a lot of work gone on in the last 13 years since we took this place over, but we are not done yet. At the moment, our major thing is that we don't have space to rescue anybody else right now. We have 3 large enclosures that need complete overhaul and renovation for them to be safe and adequate for animals to live in. So we plan to replace 1 a year for the next 3 years if we can get the funding. We're also in the process of completing a heating project to help our more vulnerable monkeys. As our monkeys get older, they have, like us, they need more shelter, they need more comfort. So we're trying to build 7 new warm houses to attach onto some of our open top enclosures so that the elderly monkeys in there can have like a really nice warm place in the winter and a nice cool place in the summer to replace their kind of older heat boxes and shelters. We've also got plans for a new veterinary clinic. And we also need to secure some new vehicles because the terrain here is trying at the best of times.
Yeah. So what's if you were to prioritize these, what's the most important thing that what's the ask that we're trying to address right now?
The most important thing we could do right now is to rebuild one of those enclosures. We actually have 5 monkeys who are on a waiting list. They're literally waiting to come and join us, but we cannot give them a space until we can replace that enclosure. So that's our absolute priority right now. And then we'd really our plan was to have the Warm House project completed this winter before winter kicks in, but then with everything that's happened with COVID and funding, foundations directing funding in other directions, understandably, but it's meant that our plans haven't changed and the monkeys' needs haven't changed. So that's our other major focus, is to get those guys their cinder block warm houses so that they can be comfortable all winter.
Great. So look, so these two together, when we're talking about less than $250,000, it's not, we're not building a rocket. This is should be very manageable, so we all need to. It's up to us, right, to make this happen. So thank you guys for being here and supporting in the best ways that you can. So if you go to bornforusa.org/gala, you can make your donation directly there. And like I said, the first four of $1,000 or more, right? $10,000 qualifies, and so does $100,000. That would get us well along the way. You get your pick at.
You can have all of them if you do.
That's right, and we'll get Liz to paint some more for you if at that sale. And for $250, you can get a print of your choosing. And there's a limited number, but we have 47 people left here. We should be able to cover you if that's if that's the level that works for you. Really, anything you can do is going to be helpful. Angela, why don't you come back on screen here, and let's open up. We've been collecting some questions here.
Oh, Tammy, that's amazing.
Rock and roll. We got
$1,000. That's incredibly generous. Thank you.
Pledges.
This is very exciting.
I am back in voice, and I think my video will come on from our moderator very soon.
Awesome. So we got a question here about how we can stop the pet trade. With education, new laws, certainly, and tell us how, building these new enclosures, and you said you've got some people waiting to move in.
Yeah.
They've got their name on the list for those new rooms.
Yeah, they have.
How does that relate to where they're coming from, and does that have anything to do with the pet trade work, or is that a different part of Born Free's activities?
It does. It is linked to the pet trade work. These guys are actually coming from, they'll be coming from the laboratory, but it does link to the pet trade work. And to be perfectly honest, building the enclosure will provide an amazing home for monkeys who need it, but it will not solve the issue of the pet trade. There are around a dozen accredited primate sanctuaries in the US. We're the largest. Our capacity is around 500 animals. And if we're the largest, it's estimated there are potentially in the tens of thousands in terms of individual primates. So what becomes clear when you look at the math, that sanctuaries are not the solution to the pet trade. We can take in such a tiny fraction of these animals who need help. So the only way in which we can really curtail the pet trade is to work on the kind of legislation that we've been working on this week, which is, for example, the Captive Primate Safety Act, which would prohibit interstate trade of privately owned primates, it wouldn't stop the trade, but it would diminish it to the extent that animals can't be traded so easily over the internet. It's difficult to get something, at federal level kind of prohibiting completely. That's what we'd love, but realistically, it's likely to go state to state. Certain states have prohibited private ownership of primates, but we've got a very long way to go, and that is going to be the way to shut the door on the trade. And we will offer a home to as many individuals as we can in the meantime. I don't know if Angela's got anything to add to that.
That's right. And the part of this is that we're really, as a sanctuary, looking to put ourselves out of business. We would be very happy if the pet trade, vivisection, these roadside menageries, and all of these captive situations that make a sanctuary like ours necessary were to end, and we could close our doors forever. That would be a good reason to pop a nice bottle of champagne.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, look, while we were talking, we just got another pledge of $2,500 from Kelly Young.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. These are amazing, aren't they?
And a pledge of $250 for a print of Buddy. I mean, don't you love these guys? I want them all.
Oh, I thought you meant these guys watching. You mean these guys?
Well, both.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you want to paint all of them too. And another 250 from Lucky Boyd. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. So what other questions do you have? Here's one from Polly. What are some of the most interesting cultural behaviors you've observed?
Ooh, that's a good one. Do you know, something which has been really interesting is and this has been studied across primates in all sorts of places, is the use of language and the use of vocalizations. Now, there was a behavioral study done some years ago which compared the vocalizations of our monkeys here with the monkeys from the original troop in Japan. And what was discovered with that, and this has been found in different places where troops have been fragmented and introduced to different kind of predators and things like that, is that the monkeys literally have different vocalizations and they don't understand some of the vocalizations of the others. So you might have an alarm call here for a rattlesnake that a Japanese macaque wouldn't understand. So that kind of thing I just find fascinating. And that's been observed in so many different places around the world. So literally monkeys develop their own language, which then of course they pass down generationally. And I just think that's fascinating. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's fascinating.
Right? We think that we're so special because we understand what we're saying.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I think, well, it always astounds me about animals that, you know, we think because we have spoken language, like you say, we think we're so special, but the fact that they can navigate these hugely complex communities. We have a troop of 200 monkeys in our 56-acre enclosure, and they navigate the social complexities of that and hierarchy of that predominantly using body language, which I think is a skill way above and beyond, you know, the amount of times we have to explain ourselves using words because we've messed up or something, and they can't do that. So I think that's another really interesting cultural thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you mentioned rattlesnakes, which relates to another question here, which is, what's your opinion on exotic pets like lizards and birds, who some people see as tame animals instead of wild ones?
That's a great question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. The lizards and birds are the most numerous of animals traded and are victimized in the pet trade. I mean, you can buy them at Walmart. You know, it's very easy to go in and buy a sack of flour and come home with a lizard. They are wild animals. Our opinion of exotic pets is any animal that is wild. So whether that animal has been bred in captivity over generations, they are still wild animals. They still retain their instincts and they still deserve to have the life that nature intended for them. So there is no such creature as a tame wild animal. They may have been, abused and beaten into submission, but they are not tame. So our position for lizards, birds, other small mammals that may be more commonly thought of as more acceptable pets, it's just simply that they're not.
Mm-hmm. So look, guys, if you want to adopt a wild animal, we've got a great way to do that with Born Free. So when do you guys want to talk about the adoption program?
Absolutely, yeah. So just trying to count, I think all of the guys here that we've got the paintings of, plus a further 13 of our monkeys are up for adoption. By that, you don't get to take them home. We'd be very much against that. We look after them, so we do all the hard work, but you will get updates about them, and it's just a really amazing way to support our work, support the monkeys, and also just make the connection with an individual. You can go and find someone, they've all got their own personalities, so you can find someone there who you can kind of really relate to, and you can find that out by just heading over to our website and looking at the adoption link, and you'll see everyone there. You'll see Mrs. Wilkin, who you saw earlier, her friend Anna, and also our other 3 new rescues. So go and check it out. Yeah, if you'd like to adopt, we would love to have you join our extended adopted family. So
you can you can keep funding their livelihood. Can you send them gifts?
Within reason, yes. We
what
have
kind of gifts do they like?
We actually have a wish list. We have an Amazon wish list which we update, and that will have things like toys for the monkeys, enrichment items that we need. kind of the less exciting stuff, you know, the absorbent pads to put under transfer cages to soak up the pee, which is not very glamorous, but all of these things add up. So we've got our kind of Amazon wish list, which again, if anybody would be willing to donate anything on there, we'd be really grateful.
The link is in the chat.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
So you can go check out the wish list.
I know we've got some people watching who are wonderful at donating from our wish list, and we regularly get gifts from some of our supporters. So you know who you are, and we love you very much. Thank you.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So, so if you're going to adopt someone and then you form this bond with them and support them, how long do these guys live?
It really depends. I mean, monkeys and baboons can live into their 40s. Kind of average lifespan of a healthy monkey, you'd be looking kind of mid to late 20s. Some can live into their 30s. The challenge that we have here is we have animals who come to us sometimes from animal testing, so they've had particular things done to them physically, which has affected their health. They, like Mrs. Wilkins, she's had a poor upbringing, she's had poor nutrition. So we do have guys who suffer from pretty serious health problems at times as a direct result of the way that they've been kept prior. So an average age would be around 25. We do have obviously some sad cases where sometimes they don't make it. And that's, you know, that's obviously one of the hardest things of working with them.
Yeah. Okay, here's an interesting question. Any upcoming auctions, please? Well,
we're having one right now.
I was saying, today is kind of an auction.
Let's see. We can put Liz on the spot for a new painting. We could do this. This is totally not planned. So tell me if this is not cool, Liz.
These things behind me. This is what I've been doing during lockdown.
And now
if you want paintings, I will do paintings. 100%.
Great. So what do you think, Angela? Should we do a live auction for another?
Eric's frozen for me. I don't know if he's frozen for anybody else.
Well, Liz, you're frozen for me. Have we hit the time limit? Are we?
I don't think it's the time. I think it's just your South Texas internet, Liz. So everything's good on my end.
We can hear you, and you're in a great, interesting position.
Yes. So I think that it would be great that if we could do either perhaps an online auction where we could do the bidding and talk Liz into another painting or two.
Well, we've got 30
and since we lost her for a moment, then now she'll have to do it. We've just committed her to it.
She has to do it. Okay. So, I've never done a live auction before. So what shall we start the bidding at 5,000? Do I hear 5,000? And just put it in your chat line because we can see your name. Am I starting too high?
Maybe, or we might want to do it online, so that we can even make it broader to more than just the folks who are here tonight. We can get this out more publicly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
We do.
You do.
We do. We can make that happen.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Well, seems like we've lost Liz. Like I said, she's in the wilderness there, but someone will find her sooner or later. But thank you all for coming tonight. It was great to be able to have this conversation, hear the things that you guys are concerned about, and address some of that. Get to see some of the landscape. Oh, there she's back. Okay, you're back. So Liz, we were just going to sign off and thank everybody. Are there any closing words you guys would like to?
No, I'm sorry. That was my rural internet. Just want to say thank you to absolutely everyone. We're so grateful for you tuning in and being here with us.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to Eric for hosting tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Always monkey around with you guys.
All right. Very
And
good.
anyone, I know, I can see that there's kind of a bunch of questions and things. If anybody wants to get in touch with us afterwards, then we'd be happy to kind of chat with you via email or something like that and answer any questions we didn't get to. We've been inundated and I don't want anyone to feel ignored or not have their questions answered. So please do get in touch.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Good night.
Night or good morning, wherever you are.